Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, we're on to the next part here, putting this back piece up. I got another piece that goes on here. But first I set this on here just to make sure it was still going to fit where I wanted to. Make sure my wiring, in case you didn't notice or haven't watched the last one, my wiring was, I had to move that. And everything seems to be working well. The next thing we need to do is actually do some framing. If you're lucky enough to have all your framework in the right place, you're still going to probably have to add at least 2 2x4s to it, and I'll show you that on the directions. But otherwise, all in all, I'm going to leave the framing pretty well the same and just add, I'm going to have to add another stud in this area. And you have to bring out a 2x4, I believe it's 7/8 of an inch, and I'll explain that to you. But that's, when I'm doing that, that's so it can fit in this area, so that when we put our surround piece, the glass surround here, or whatever surround you have, we'll bolt into that. We'll drill into this and bolt into the, be able to have a solid 2x4 to bolt into. Before you put this in, make sure you do all your framing for the surround that you're going to use on the walls here, because on my surround here there is some instructions on where you want certain things. Everything doesn't have to be perfect there, but I am finding it kind of difficult now to have this in where I want it, and I don't really want to move it. Just trying to screw in some of the framing where it needs to go. So just a little side note there. Hey, kitty, kitty. I'm pretty happy with how this is laying on the floor. You know, everything in an old house like this, nothing's going to be absolutely perfect, and you have to probably shim some stuff and that kind of thing. So if things weren't lining up very well, and surprisingly for as old of a house as this is, so I got this. Hopefully you can see it now, and it's a, I believe, an 8-foot level. I don't know. My mom actually found this at a garage sale for 15 bucks. It looks practically brand new. Guy bought it for one project he needed and didn't want it anymore. So, but surprisingly, these walls are extremely level all the way around. Now you can use, I would at least get like a 4-foot level. And they got them. I got my 4-foot level at Harbor Freight. Works fine. Bubble levels are pretty good no matter where you get them from. Now this is very level, but this caves in a little bit here. That's one thing about one of these bigger levels. You can kind of tell like where things are not flat, so to speak, but that little bit I'm not going to worry about. Level wise, plumb wise, everything seems to be doing pretty well. So the next step we have after making sure everything is where you want it to be is we need to actually frame this in. The instructions come in at. And I talked about this in the previous one. For some reason my surround came with 2 sets of instructions, so I just hung number 1 side on this wall and the second side on this over here, which is kind of nice to do, having it up where you can read it. Instructions, it starts with number 1, and it shows these 2 2x4s right here. I was a little bit confused by that, because I'm like, you know, I'm going to have to build all kinds of stuff to make these work. You know, how do they figure you're only going to need 2? Well, here's the deal. If you look over next to this on this one here, it actually shows you how to frame in the wall over in the corner here, exactly what you need to do. So if you're lucky enough to be, you know, have an open wall to build on, or if your contractor already knows exactly what tub surround you're going to put in, then this will work for you, and you'll have it all set up this way. They probably still, even when you're going to do that, you probably still need to put these, see how this one 2x4 is hooked to those and then sticks out this 7/8 of an inch. Probably still end up having to, if you're doing it yourself anyway, hook those in if you're lucky, and they actually have these instructions. They might do it for you. But then that brings you over to here, and really where I need to do is find out exactly where these 2 that are darker here, the ones that stick out, need to be. And I'm not going to bother, you know, ripping everything out of the corner here and framing everything in. I'm going to have to figure out where those need to be and stick my 2x4s out. I probably will have to put in another stud here somewhere, and also one over here somewhere, to make that work. So I'm gonna have to do my measurements and get that all there. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm just trying to help you out if you're reading these and going, okay, start with number 1. Well, these aren't anywhere in your walls, so you got to make them there. I got lucky, and this 2x4 was about right where I needed to hook this one to right here. And as you can see, there's 7/8 of an inch sticking out here. So I just kind of screwed it to the side of this one. Now this is not exactly how it says to do in the instructions, but I'll show you kind of how I'm going to remedy the fact that this isn't completely framed the way it's supposed to be. But the main thing is that this needs to be 36 and I don't know, a little over 36 inches. I went ahead and put the framing in at the area, so it's 36 and whatever to this side right here, and then I'm going to have to hook the one that sticks out to this. So those are 36 3/4 to the outside edge. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the one, and it sticks out 7/8 of an inch. I put my level across there. If you don't have a big giant level like this, you can use a chalk line or whatever. I marked 7/8 of an inch to there, 7/8 inch there, and then I put a line going all the way across that way. And then from the floor up, you need it sticking up off the floor 6 inches. So I put a mark up there at 6 inches. I got my line here, and I got where I need to have it down here on the bottom. I'm going to kind of guesstimate it, maybe go a little bit higher if I have to. Put that on the line, and then I'm going to take this and bring it out. And I can see my line here. I want it right to the edge of that line right there. Double check that I'm up at around the 6 inch mark. This part's in trouble getting that where I wanted it to be, so I made a mark up here, kind of stuck it on the bottom mark, made a mark up there where I wanted it to be. Now I can hopefully hold this here. I also screwed the screw out a little ways so it'll kind of hold into the 2x4 and hold it for me a little better, I'm hoping. That way. So we appear to be doing pretty good. It's not exactly, I'm kind of surprised at where it is. If you go by, it's on the side of this. It's actually this second half inside here that's going to actually go on. So there's quite a bit of this sticks out, surprisingly. I would think it would be more in the middle, but I double checked my measurements because of that, and it does seem to be correct. And I also can kind of feel back here and hitting on there. It's actually maybe sticking out a little bit high up there, but yeah, there's enough movement in it. I think we're good there. Same with this one. I can feel it back here. It's setting on here real nice. Everything seems to be fitting where it needs to be. It's this second half right here, so as long as that outer piece that goes in on here hooks to this part right in this area, anywhere between, you know, here over, we're okay. So before I button all this up, I need to go, because I haven't got it yet, I need to go get the outside surround part and double check that that's where that's going to want to mount. So for now, that's where this is going to be. Now here's the other parts. Like I said, this isn't all completely framed exactly the way that is, because I'm just kind of using what I have here as far as framing is concerned. So what I'm going to have to do, and this may change subject to, I've read through the instructions, but I haven't completely nailed down every part. I want to get to a part where I'm actually hooking this to the wall and see exactly where things need to be hooked. But I'm assuming that around the edges here, I know we need something here for 2 reasons. And this is where you got to start thinking about things in advance. I'm going to want to put sheetrock on here, and although this is a fairly solid piece to put the sheetrock up against, you want something to screw into. So we want to make sure that we have, you know, a stud in here somewhere. I'm actually, because of some wiring I have going on, I'm going to have to actually put it in there sideways like that and have it this direction, going between the 2x4 here and this 2x4 all the way up. That way when I put my sheetrock on, I'll have a nice solid area here to go. Same thing over here, which I was hoping this one would actually do it, but it doesn't. I'm going to have to put a 2x4 in between these two here, in between this stud and this stud. I'll just butt it right up against this stud and screw it right into here all the way down. That'll give me that little bit more to hold this for my sheetrock. That'll give that good structure. Same with up above here. I'm assuming I'm going to want at least you know, some sort of sealant or something putting this in up here, and I'm going to have sheetrock coming down here, and if for some reason a piece lands in the middle here and I don't have some sort of 2x4 on either side of it, I'm going to want something for the structure. So I'm also going to take some 2x4s this direction and actually put them in from here to here on all these spots, all the way across, all the way around, and that should give me structure not only for this but also for my sheetrock when I put that in up there. So a few things I had to think about, a few more things I have before I button right here to hook something to. We'll see. I have to read. I got this pretty well where I'm going to want it at, so I'm going to mark the top of this on all these 2x4s here, and I'm going to have to do these ones. I'll remove the panel, but the reason I showed you that is now I can kind of figure out where I'm going to want these cross studs going here, or braces going here, and also all the way across here. But also I have decided I am going to put a stud in this area. I'll put the cross braces in first and just put a stud in this area from there down. So I have my bracing up across the top. I'm hoping you can see that. I also have one down here, and I'm going to have one going across here somewhere to fix the shower head where it sits in the shower. It has like a keeper thing that holds the bar that goes up. I'm doing like a rain shower, I'm hoping, depending on what my plumbing ends up like. But you can see these three here. Now, yet again, if you have this framed exactly how it says, you shouldn't have to do a lot of this, but from what I can see, you're going to have to kind of do some of this type of stuff anyway, because of the way the shower is built, at least the one I have. It goes flat right up against where the 2x4s are going to wind up at, which things like this that are sticking out, I'm going to have to make sure I have that kind of cleaned off good. But also, if I am in the shower, I tend to lean against the wall and relax in the nice warm shower. Well, I want to make sure that where I'm leaning has a spot for me, so I got this, this, and this so that I can lean like this and let it hit my head. I can lean back, just relax against the wall. I got it pretty much right where I need it. My wife's shorter than me, and my daughter's shorter than me, my son is a little bit shorter than me, so these ones should take care of them pretty okay. I may actually put one more right in here. I haven't decided yet. But in the actual framing, you would have a 2x4 would be coming right in this area. And then you'd have this one, I believe, pretty close to it right here. And then this one here, I turned sideways and brought up. And that is right where the two seams meet together. And I wasn't exactly sure where that was going to meet, so I went ahead and turned this sideways like this. It's pretty flat, straight. It does a pretty good job. And in this area, in this corner area here, you don't need to do any blocking because none of that is actually up against the wall anywhere in this corner. The only place where it really is up against the wall is up from about here up is pretty flat in this area, and also in this area as well. So there's going to be more blocking going on in this area. I don't tend to lean against that section of it anyways. It's more this side that I'll be leaning up against. So that is why I did it this way instead of going ahead and ripping all this out and framing it exactly the same way. Also, I noticed with the plumbing that I'm doing, I need a wider gap than what they're showing, so you got to figure out what your plumbing is and frame, you know, wherever your plumbing is going to be needs to be framed according to whatever plumbing you're using as well. So it is going to differ from what their actual directions say anyway. So there we are, all framed, and it is actually, except for figuring out where the piece for the shower head is going to be, it's pretty well all done. I think I'm going to stick it with it like this. So I'm going to call that a video. Hopefully this is working out for you and helping some of you out. If not, kind of watch the whole thing if you have other questions, because what I didn't cover in this is maybe in another one. And that pretty much covers it for all the framing stuff. There's going to be a few more things, but you have to go into some of the other videos to look and see if I did anything else from here. But I believe this blocking should more than cover what originally should be, or according to the direction should be here. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to call that a video. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master of none. You all have a good one.